In the spiritual philosophy of Paramahansa Yogananda, few concepts are as transformative yet paradoxical as the idea of true self-respect. On the surface, it seems contradictory. How can one cultivate self-respect without feeding the ego? How can a person avoid feeling insulted while simultaneously releasing attachment to personal pride? Yet Yogananda's teaching reveals a profound truth that has escaped the understanding of countless individuals. Genuine self-respect is not the arrogant assertion of superiority, nor is it the defensive reaction to perceived slights. Rather, it is the unwavering recognition of one's divine nature, a spiritual foundation so unshakable that external insults simply cannot penetrate it, while simultaneously dissolving the very ego that creates suffering in the first place. Before we begin, if you enjoy this video, give me a like, comment below about your thought and hit subscribe button so you don't miss any video inspired by Yogananda's teaching. Thank you very much. Yogananda spent much of his life in the West, introducing Hindu philosophy and meditation practices to America and Europe. His unique gift was the ability to translate ancient spiritual wisdom into language and concepts that resonated with the modern mind. In his teachings on self-respect, he distinguishes carefully between the false self, the ego with its endless cravings for validation and its hypersensitivity to criticism, and the true self, which is a reflection of the divine consciousness that pervades all existence. This distinction is fundamental to understanding how self-respect actually liberates us from both the suffering of feeling insulted and the spiritual imprisonment of egoism. The average person moves through life with a fragile sense of self, constructed from the opinions of others, past achievements, social status, and accumulated possessions. This fabricated identity is constantly under threat. When someone criticizes us, ignores us, or treats us disrespectfully, it feels like a personal attack because we have no other foundation beneath us. We are like buildings constructed entirely above ground, with no roots or foundation, swaying with every wind that passes. In this unstable state, we are perpetually vulnerable to feeling insulted. Every harsh word, every sideways glance, every failure to receive the recognition we crave becomes a wound that we nurse, sometimes for years. Yogananda teaches that this vulnerability arises from a fundamental misunderstanding of who we are. We have mistaken the body, the mind, and the personality for our true identity. These are merely the instruments through which the true self expresses itself, much as a musician is not the instrument they play. When we operate from this mistaken identity, we naturally become egoistic because we are desperately trying to protect and enhance something that is inherently fragile and impermanent. The ego is essentially a defense mechanism, constantly vigilant against threats to its constructed image, constantly seeking to bolster itself through comparison, competition, and the accumulation of achievements and possessions. True self-respect, as Yogananda understood it, begins with a shift in consciousness. It is the recognition that at the deepest level of our being, we are not separate individuals struggling for survival and recognition in a hostile world. Rather, we are expressions of the same divine consciousness that animates all of existence. This is not mere intellectual belief but a truth that can be directly experienced through meditation and spiritual practice. When one touches this deeper reality, even temporarily, the effect is transformative. Suddenly, the endless chattering of the ego becomes recognizable as the noise it truly is. The desperate seeking for validation appears as the futile striving it is. The sensitivity to insult dissolves because there is no longer anyone to insult, or rather, the insult cannot touch the true self any more than a shadow can burn. This realization brings about a remarkable paradox. In releasing attachment to ego, one discovers true self-respect. This is because genuine self-respect is not based on comparison with others or the accumulation of external validations. It is based on the intrinsic worth of consciousness itself. You are worthy not because you have achieved great things, accumulated wealth, developed an attractive appearance, or earned the approval of others. You are worthy because you exist, because consciousness flows through you, because the same divine intelligence that created galaxies and orchestrates the dance of atoms animates your being. When self-respect is grounded in this understanding, insults lose their sting. Someone's harsh words or disrespectful behavior reflects their own state of consciousness, their own fears and limitations, their own lack of awareness of the divine in themselves and in others. It is as if someone walks up to a mirror and insults their reflection, blaming the mirror for what they see. The mirror does not take offense because it understands its nature. Similarly, one who has developed true self-respect recognizes that disrespect from others is their problem, not ours. We can feel compassion for them, even work to improve the relationship, but we are no longer devastated by their behavior because we know it cannot diminish our true worth. At the same time, this spiritual self-respect is the greatest safeguard against egoism. The irony is that those who are most egoistic are often those most desperately seeking respect from others. They are hungry for admiration, desperate for recognition, constantly performing and posturing to maintain their constructed image. Because their self-respect is conditional and dependent on external validation, they must constantly defend it, boast about it, and inflate it to make it seem solid. True self-respect, by contrast, is so secure that it requires no defense. It is not compelled to boast because it has nothing to prove. It is not threatened by others' accomplishments because it is not engaged in competition. It is not tempted to put others down in order to elevate itself. Yogananda taught that the practice of meditation is essential to developing this kind of self-respect. Through meditation, one learns to distinguish between the fluctuating content of consciousness, thoughts, emotions, sensations, and personality traits, and the unchanging awareness in which all of this appears. One learns to identify with this deeper awareness rather than with the surface modifications of the mind. With consistent practice, this identification becomes more stable and natural. The meditator begins to carry this deeper sense of self into daily life. They become a witness to their own thoughts and emotions, no longer completely identified with them. This creates a space of freedom and choice where previously there was only reactive suffering. From this witnessing consciousness, one can respond to life's challenges with clarity and wisdom rather than reacting from wounded ego or defensive aggression. If someone criticizes your work, you can listen objectively, extract any useful feedback, and release any sting of wounded pride because you recognize that your worth is not determined by the quality of any particular project or anyone's opinion of it. If someone achieves greater success or recognition, you can genuinely celebrate their accomplishment without the gnawing sense of inadequacy or the need to compete because you are not measuring your worth against external benchmarks. Yogananda also emphasized the importance of right action in cultivating self-respect. True self-respect means treating oneself and others with dignity. It means not engaging in behaviors that violate your own values and principles, not participating in dishonesty or cruelty, not degrading yourself through excessive indulgence or through the suppression of your natural gifts. At the same time, it means respecting the dignity and divine nature of others, even those who may not respect us. This is a delicate balance, maintaining boundaries and protecting yourself from exploitation while still recognizing the underlying unity and worth of all beings. The practical application of Yogananda's teaching on self-respect begins with inner work. One must regularly remind oneself of the truth of one's being. In moments of self-doubt or shame, when the ego is wounded and reactive, one can pause and reconnect with the deeper reality. This might be through prayer, meditation, or simply conscious reflection on the nature of consciousness itself. Over time, this practice rewires the nervous system and changes the fundamental sense of self. One becomes less reactive, less defensive, and more stable in the face of life's inevitable ups and downs. Additionally, Yogananda taught that living in alignment with one's highest values strengthens self-respect. When you do what you believe is right, even when it is difficult or unpopular, you develop an unshakable respect for yourself that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. Conversely, when you act in ways that violate your own principles, you undermine your self-respect regardless of how much praise or approval you receive from others. True self-respect is the natural result of living with integrity and authenticity. Yogananda also recognized that self-respect must extend to the body and the physical life. This is not narcissism or vanity, but rather a recognition that the body is the temple through which the soul functions in the material world. Self-respect means taking care of the body through proper nutrition, exercise, and rest. It means not poisoning it with excessive drugs or alcohol. It means respecting your time and energy by not scattering them on meaningless pursuits but directing them toward what truly matters. This physical self-respect naturally reinforces the deeper spiritual self-respect. One of the most liberating aspects of Yogananda's teaching on self-respect is how it transforms relationships. When you no longer need others' approval and validation to feel worthy, your relationships fundamentally shift. You can love people without desperation or neediness. You can set healthy boundaries without resentment. You can be generous without expecting gratitude. You can be vulnerable without shame. Paradoxically, this often deepens relationships and attracts more genuine love and respect because people respond to the calm confidence and authenticity of one who has found self-respect from within. The teaching also addresses the trap of what might be called spiritual ego, where one becomes attached to one's spiritual practices and accomplishments. Yogananda warned against this, emphasizing that true spirituality is not about accumulating spiritual experiences or achievements to feed the ego. Rather, it is about increasingly releasing the ego's grip. One might meditate deeply or experience states of expanded consciousness, but if these experiences are used to inflate one's sense of superiority or special status, then the ego has merely donned spiritual clothing. True self-respect includes the humility to recognize that any spiritual development is a gift of grace, not a personal achievement, and that every being contains the same divine consciousness regardless of their apparent spiritual development. In the modern world, with its constant bombardment of messages telling us we are not enough, Yogananda's teaching on self-respect is more relevant than ever. Social media, advertising, and consumer culture all work to undermine genuine self-respect by creating artificial needs and encouraging constant comparison with others. In this environment, Yogananda's ancient wisdom offers a countercultural path. It invites us to disconnect from the endless external evaluations and reconnect with the silent, unshakable worth that exists at our core. The path Yogananda offers is not one of arrogance or superiority. Quite the opposite. It is a path of increasing humility because as one recognizes the divine consciousness in oneself, one simultaneously recognizes it in all beings. How can you be arrogant when you see that the same infinite intelligence that guides your life also guides the life of the person you previously looked down upon? How can you feel superior when you recognize that every being, regardless of their circumstances, contains the same essential worth. This is a humility that comes not from self-abasement but from genuine spiritual insight. Furthermore, Yogananda taught that self-respect naturally leads to service. When you truly respect yourself as an expression of the divine, you naturally respect others in the same way. This recognition naturally compels one toward service, toward using one's gifts and abilities to help alleviate suffering and elevate consciousness wherever possible. The self-respecting individual is not withdrawn from the world but actively engaged in making it better, not from a sense of superior morality but from genuine love and compassion. The ultimate goal, according to Yogananda's teaching, is not merely freedom from the pain of feeling insulted or the grip of egoism, though these are valuable achievements. The ultimate goal is the constant realization of one's unity with the divine consciousness, from which all limited self-respect naturally flows. When one fully awakens to this reality, the questions that previously tormented us, am I good enough? Do people respect me? Am I better than others? Simply dissolve. They are revealed as the products of limited consciousness, no longer compelling to the awakened mind. In conclusion, Yogananda's teaching on self-respect offers a revolutionary path that avoids both the suffering of wounded ego and the spiritual imprisonment of egoism. It calls us to recognize our true nature as expressions of divine consciousness, to meditate regularly to strengthen this recognition, to live with integrity and authenticity, and to extend genuine respect to all beings. This kind of self-respect cannot be shaken by external circumstances because it is not dependent on them. It grows stronger through challenges because each difficulty is an opportunity to deepen our identification with the unchanging self. It is the foundation of a liberated life, one in which the constant anxiety of ego defense gives way to the peace and freedom of authentic existence. In cultivating this true self-respect, we simultaneously solve the dual problem that has plagued humanity, the sensitivity to insult and the tyranny of egoism, and discover in their place a joy and freedom that no external circumstance can diminish.